Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how you can edit this portrait step by step using my actions. As you can see, this portrait needs to be cleaned first. So as you can see, we have some messy hair around because of the light hitting the model from the back. So we have to clean the hair first and start working with frequency separation. So I'm just gonna go click and clean. And after we do that, we have two different layers. One of them is clean and one of them is a black and white help layer. So I'm just gonna turn off this SOC, which means straight out of camera. This is an original file. And I'm gonna start cleaning this portrait. For cleaning, I'm gonna use three different tools: spot healing brush, and patch tool. So I'm just gonna start cleaning here on the forehead. And this portrait is, you can find it in my Telegram channel. A link is in the description. Also about my actions, you can find them in the description too. If you're already here and you are not a subscriber yet, if you think that my video tutorials are useful, please consider to subscribe, because why not? And don't forget to leave some comments down below. Let me know about my English, if I am understandable or not. Also drop some likes for the algorithm, because lately we are not making anything from YouTube, so don't forget to give some likes for the algorithm. And as you can see, I'm using healing brush tool. I'm just copy pasting here the texture. But don't forget that you should not make this mistake. For example, if you copy the texture and you paste it here, as you can see, we have some horrible texture. So be careful that you have to copy here and you have to paste it here. For example, you copy as near as possible, because this is how we maintain the original texture of the portrait. Otherwise, you will ruin the texture. So be careful when you do this. It's not a hard step to do, but just be careful when you copy, because you have to hold Alt keyboard and click here as a copy and click here as a paste. So don't forget this. If you are already a subscriber and you have seen my videos from before, I guess that you know some stuff, because you have learned from me. I hope so. And if you didn't, please consider to comment me or DM me on Instagram and let me know if my video tutorials are useful or not. For example, some of you guys send me DMs on Instagram showing your before and after work. And I want to say thank you for all of them who send the DMs, that they tell me that they have learned a lot from my video tutorials. They show me their before and after work of retouching. So I think that my video tutorials are helpful for a lot of guys out there. But don't forget that to follow my step-by-step, for example, for this process, you have to get my actions, and don't forget to check all the links down below, because you have to download the raw file first on my Telegram channel. And after you do that, you have to open it in Camera Raw and start working and following my steps. As you can see, for the moment we are just cleaning. So for the cleaning, you can skip this part. You can forward the video a little, because as you can see, we have to clean the face first. And after we are done with cleaning, which I think that we are done, we have to clean the hair. For cleaning hair, I think that I'm just gonna create a mask with the pen tool and make it all black, I guess, because as you can see we have a lot of messy hair, but I'm just gonna clean the hair here on the head. So let's just speed up this process because it will take more time. And here we are after we have done some cleaning, and as you can see we have cleaned the hair but not that much. So I'm just gonna merge these two layers by clicking merge layers, and now it's time for dodge and burn check layer. So I'm just gonna click on dodge and burn check layer, click play, turn off this one and click and dodge and burn. Now turn on the dodge and burn help layer, open the group, click here, and you can play with the highlights and shadows. So this is an inverted work. As you can see, we have dodge and burn help check layer, which is in inverted way. So we are gonna burn the burns and we're gonna dodge the highlight parts. For example, we are gonna burn the parts that are black, as you can see, and we're gonna dodge the parts, for example, that are highlighted. So I'm just gonna use a 10% brush and start working on the burn first. So the burn is for the highlights, but in the inverted way, as you can see, it's for the shadows or the blacks. So this is a really great way to dodge and burn in a portrait. So I highly recommend you guys to use this technique for dodge and burn because it's really helping the people out there creating some great results. For example, if you don't want to retouch that much in a portrait and you just want to clean and use dodge and burn, you can use this technique. But for my personal use, usually I dodge and burn portraits and I use frequency separation. So I combine both techniques and I have these great results. So I highly recommend you guys to follow my steps, and I promise that you will have great results by the ending. Let's just check a before and after. As you can see, we are making the black parts a little bit lighter, so we have to uncheck this time by time so you can always check a before and after of what you're doing with dodge and burn. And now it's time for dodge, so let's just keep working. This is a technique to make the portrait a little bit more flat, as you can see. And after we are done with the dodge and burn in the inverted way, we are gonna start working in the frequency separation. So as I said before, if you want to use my actions, don't forget to check all the links down below. You can find them down there, so don't forget. Let's just check a before and after. And I think it's starting to look good. Now keep working on the hands. And now I'm working on the burn or in the blacks or darker parts, as you can wish to say it, because this is an inverted. And don't forget this, that you have to burn on the darker parts and you have to dodge on the lighter parts. For retouching, I'm using Vacuuming Tools Pro S, and it's a really good vacuum. use for retouching. I highly recommend you guys to get one if you already don't have one, because it's better than working with a mice. So I highly recommend you guys to go get one, because it will make your workflow faster, and I promise you that your results will be so much better than using a mouse or mice. Now, after you do this, you have to uncheck this layer, desaturate or saturate. It's a desaturated layer. So let's just check a before and after. I think that dodge is looking good, but I'm just gonna lower this a little bit. Now check the burn layer, check before and after, and I think it's looking good. Now I'm just gonna reduce this by 50, delete the dodge and burn help layer, and merge these. Oops, sorry, I clicked link layers, sorry, just click merge layers. Now check out before and after this entire process, and I think that is looking good. Now it's time for the frequency separation part. Just click on FS plus, and you have to find or choose the right radius. You can do this by dragging this to by 0.1 and zoom in into the details or the pores or of the portrait, and start sliding this into right until you disappear all this texture. For example, 29 is really too much, so I'm just gonna go by 12, I guess. Click OK, open the group. Now you have to work on the two separated layers. One is low frequency and one is high frequency. Low frequency is for the color and high frequency is for the texture. So you have to work in different parts. For example, in the low frequency, we are going to use mixer brush. And for mixer brush, for the settings, I'm going to go with wet by 10, load by 25, mix by 45, and flow by 33, and this one by 2, and start mixing the skin tones. But before we do this, I'm just gonna uncheck the high frequency or the texture and start working on the mixer brush. In the low frequency, we have to mix the skin tones. For example, we are gonna mix the highlights, shadows, and everything else. So we're gonna make this portrait looks even better. Not that this portrait isn't looking good, as you can see, because the photograph, the name of him is in the description, is a really talented photographer. So if you wanna see his work, you can check his profile on Instagram or Facebook. I don't know. The name of him is in the description. Because I get these raw files from different photographers and I really can't remember all their names. But as you can see, the results of this portrait are really great. So be careful if you are a photographer. For example, if a portrait is not looking that good when you take pictures, I would say that even with Photoshop you can get great results. So be careful when you are taking pictures to try and get the best results from your camera. So you will have less work in Photoshop. And if you are a retoucher already and you're working as a retoucher for other photographers, um, I would say to keep working with frequency separation on the low, for example, and don't even try to touch the high frequency or the texture, because if you ruin the texture, the portrait is not gonna look that good. And let's just check this before and after, what we've done already. And I think that it's starting to look awesome. So I'm just gonna keep working on the low frequency, on the chest, on the neck, because we don't wanna only retouch on the face. I'm a retoucher who touches every single detail of a portrait. For example, if you are a photographer and you're just watching this video tutorial for fun and you need a retoucher, don't hold back. So you can DM me on Instagram, or you can just email me and ask me about my retouching services, because I work as a retoucher part-time. Mostly, I make my living only by creating video tutorials for YouTube and selling my actions that that are really helpful for a lot of people. So let's just check a before and after. I think it's looking good, only that we have ruined this part of the nose, as you can see before and after. And I'm just gonna create a mask here with a black brush and 100% opacity. I'm just gonna start recovering this part because sometimes we can make mistakes. Let's just check a before and after. Yeah, I think it's looking good on the other parts, only that in the nose it's not that good. So I'm just gonna merge these layers and create another one and create a clipping mask and start working again on this part of the nose. But I'm just gonna leave it a little bit more original. Let's just check a before and after. And I think that is looking good for the moment. Now, after we are done with low frequency, it's time to work on the high frequency. For the high frequency, we are going to use clone stamp tool. So I'm just going to copy paste that texture in the parts that I think that need to be more cleaned, because we have cleaned this portrait first and we have left some details here and there. And if you did this too, you can use the clone stamp tool and start cleaning on the high frequency. For example, if you want to remove these lines under the eyes, you can do this with clone stamp tool by holding Alt keyboard, click here for copy and paste it. So this is the way you can work with the clone stamp tool. As you can see, we have so much details on this portrait and I really like them. For example, these black lines under the eyes, you can't remove them in the high frequency because they are in the low frequency. So I'm just gonna create another copy layer here, and with a mixer brush and 100% wet, I'm just gonna start wiping them. As you can see, for the moment, I guess you're saying that, well, what I am doing here with this technique. As you can see, we have ruined the eye, so I'm just gonna create a mask and make it all black by control click I by inverting with a white brush and 20%, I would say. We are just painting here under these lines, so I'm just gonna smooth them out by brushing on the black mask. Let's just check it before and after, and yeah, I guess it's looking good. As you can see, we have some smoky eyes here, so I'm just gonna work later on them. So I'm just gonna keep working on the high frequency just a little until I think that we are good to go with the other parts. Let's just check this part. I think it's looking good already. And zoom out. Let's just check a before and after with the frequency separation. And I think that is looking good. Now it's time to add some dodge and burn. Just click on dodge and burn, click play, and I'm just gonna start with the dodge and burn first. So I'm just gonna dodge some highlighted parts. For example, the light that is hitting the forehead, the highlights in the cheeks, some highlights here under the lips, and this side lights. I'm just gonna give some dodge on the hands too. Add some highlights into the eyes, because why not? You can make them look even better. Now click on this desaturated layer and remove this. Now check a before and after of this group. As you can see, I think it's looking good. Just reduce this a little and start working on the burn. In the burn, usually I burn this side of forehead, and I burn the cheeks by making them look even better. So I'm gonna add some on the side of the nose. Let's just check a before and after, and I think it's looking good already. Let's just check a before and after process. And yeah, I think that we have to remove this on the high frequency. This is, for example, a mistake when you are cleaning, because if you don't clean the entire portrait on the beginning, you have to deal with this on the high frequency, in the frequency separation. So be careful, as I say always, when you are cleaning, that you don't want to leave anything behind. It's not that everyone is perfect on retouching, but you can always make changes. Why not? There is no law for retouching. I mean, like, there's no law or anything, but be careful when you retouch, because you don't want to destroy the texture, because the moment you destroy the texture, the retouching process is gone, and you will have some bad results and nobody's gonna like them. Let's just check a before and after, and I think it's looking good. Now I'm just gonna merge all these layers by clicking shift and holding, and click here on the burn. Now let's just remove the saturated layer. Again, click and hold shift and merge layers. Now check a before and after this entire process. Now I'm just gonna go to makeup retouching actions and click on soft smooth skin, click play, and after it's done, just click on stop. I forgot to mention that you have to have only one single layer here, which is background. For example, this SOOC doesn't bother us, but you have to be careful, because as I merged all the layers, I did it on purpose, so you have to have one layer which is background. So this action works only if you have the background. So if you have, for example, like this action is not going to work. So be careful that you have only the background and locked. Now zoom in a little, use a brush of 100% opacity and flow, and start brushing here on the face. This is the soft skin smooth action. It helps us for smoothing some details. For example, if we leave this by 100% opacity, or 75 as I created, the portrait is not gonna look that professional, and people are gonna judge us for creating something bad. So be careful. Let's just zoom in, and you can have some before and after. As you can see, we have smoothened the texture a lot. So I'm just gonna reduce this by 35, I guess. Now check a before and after always, because you have to do this. And I think that is good by 35. Now I'm just gonna add some digital skin texture. Click on skin texture and click play. After do that, you have to paint it with a white brush on the black mask. So I'm just gonna add some digital skin texture, because when we added this soft skin action, the portrait was really smooth. So I'm just gonna add some more texture into this. Now just zoom in, and you can see this digital skin texture, and I think it's a lot. So I'm just gonna reduce this by 25. Now check a before and after, and I think it's looking good for the moment. Now merge these layers again by clicking shift and holding that, and merge layers into one. Now check a before and after. I think it's looking good already. Now we have to work on the eyes. Now go to the eyes plus all in and click play. Click OK, open this group, go to the remove veins. This one is for cleaning the white of the eyes from the veins and making it a little blurry. So this is for the clean. Usually I don't use the clean for the eyes because I leave them original, but for today, as you can see, we have some red veins, so I'm just gonna reduce them. As you can see, 100 is too much, so lower this by 45. Now go to the brightening. Brightening is only for the white of the eyes, so be careful because we don't want to add some light in some other parts except that white of the eyes. And just zoom in, zoom out, because you can have these details on checking before and after, because this is how you can create the portrait looking good. For example, if you only work in the zoom in, you can have some mistakes. Now click on the eyeball lighting. This one is for the eyeball, but as you can see, this portrait for the eyeball is not that having that much light, so I'm just gonna paint it and reduce this by 50, something like that. This one is iris contour, so I'm just gonna add some contour here on the iris, a little bit on the outside, so be careful. Check before and after, and I think that it's good. Now check a before and after of this entire group. As you can see, we have not made some bigger changes, so we just added some little touch here. Now it's time for the smoky eyes and mascara. Click on play and click stop. After we do this, go onto the smoky eyes, and with a white brush and 50%, you can start painting here. As you can see, we are creating some smoky eyes because this portrait has some makeup, so we are just gonna add some more. Let's just check a before and after of this, and I think it's looking good, but 50 is too much, so I'm just gonna go by 20. Now add some mascara and start painting into this eyelashes. For example, if we have more details on the eyelashes, this action works perfectly. So as you can see, this one is way too much, so I'm just gonna lower this by 20 and check a before and after always. I think it's looking good already for the eyes. This one is eyeshadow. Click play, and as you can see, it's saying pick a color, so we're just gonna pick this kind of red into orange, something like that. Or you can zoom in to check more colors. I think this one is good. You can always, for example, you can copy the color of the lips, which is pink, and start painting on the eyes. And this one is for the makeup. You can create some great results with this one. Let's just check a before and after. And as you can see, it's starting to look really nice. I'm just gonna zoom in and copy a color here. I think it's kind of pink into orange, something like that, and start painting here and creating some great results. Now let's just check a before and after, and I think it's looking good. But as you can see, this one is too much. I'm just gonna reduce the opacity by 35, I guess. I think it's good. Now I'm just gonna click play here again, and I'm gonna zoom in and copy the color, for example this one, but I'm just gonna go by a blacker one, darker, sorry, and start painting on these lines by making them even darker. This one helps the makeup artists a lot because you can make some lines. You can do some makeup with Photoshop really easy. Let's just check a before and after. As you can see, you have done something good, but as I say always, it's too much. I'm just gonna lower this by 35. Check a before and after this entire process, and I think it's looking good. Now it's time to merge all these layers into one by holding Shift keyboard, click here and merge layers into one. Now it's time to add to work on the lips and teeth. So I'm just gonna click on whiten teeth, click play, and I'm gonna make them a little bit more brighter and removing that yellow tone. So in this portrait we don't have that much yellow tone, so I think it's good enough. Let's just reduce this by 50 and merge these two layers into one, and I'm just gonna click on lips and cheeks and click play. I'm just gonna add some dodge and burn into the lips and start working on the rosy lips first. So I'm just gonna use a white brush with 100% opacity and start painting on these lips. I'm just gonna paint it all over on the lips, and as you can see, this one is too much. I'm just gonna lower this by 25, I guess. Let's just check. I think it's good. Now zoom in and you can start on the pick lips color dodge. This one is only for the dodge, so you have to pick a color on the lips. This one is a dodge action only for the lips, so this is why you have to pick the color on the lips, which is pink, and sometimes it's a different color, but you have to always copy the color that is in the lips. Now let's just check a before and after. As you can see, they are starting to look even better, but reduce this by 45. Now click on the pick lips color burn. This one is for the burn, so I'm just going to pick a darker color on the lips and start making some shadows, I guess, making look these lips even better. So let's just check a before and after this one, and I think it's good, but reduce this by 30, 32, something like that. Now check a before and after of this group, and I think it's looking good. Now put these rose lips into the group, check a before and after, and if you think that this one is too much changes, you can always lower this group, and now I think it's looking good. Now it's time to work on the rosy cheeks, so I'm just gonna use a 50% brush and add some rosy color into the cheeks, but be careful, you don't want to add too much. So reduce this by 20, or no, I'm just gonna go by 50, 15, and I think it's good. Now merge these three layers into one. You have to do this, you have to merge every time these layers, because these actions won't work if you have too many layers. I'm just gonna add some glow into the lips, click play and start painting. As you can see, we are making them more into a glow effect. So let's just check a before and after by zooming out, and I think this one is kind of too much, so I'm just gonna let's just remove this, for example, because we added some glow outside the lips, and reduce this by 20. I think it's looking good. Now merge both of these layers. Now I'm just gonna add some softness to the lips. I'm just gonna click soft lips and play, and wait until this part is done. Now zoom in, and with a 100% white brush, I'm just gonna start painting here on the lips. As you can see, we have reducing the details and making the lips a little bit soften. Let's just check a before and after, and I think that I have to reduce this by 25. Let's just check. I think it's good. Now merge these layers both, zoom out, check a before and after. Now that we are done with the lips, eyes, and everything else, you can check the before and after of this portrait. And now it's time that we're gonna add some sharpen into this portrait. Click OK, click continue, and as you can see, we have a darker or black mask. So I'm just gonna invert this mask into white so you can see the sharpen action. It's too much obviously, so I'm just gonna reduce this by 35, I guess. Now I'm just gonna add some basic contrast, and this one is looking good, but always lower the opacity of this. Now add some base contour, check a before and after, and I think that is looking good. Now merge all these layers into one. Before you do this, you can lower the opacity of the base contour, so don't forget to do this, and let's check a before and after. I think that we have done something amazing here. As you can see, we still have the great texture. We didn't ruin the texture, and this is the main thing that when you're retouching, as you can see a before and after, and I think that is looking amazing. I hope you find this video tutorial really helpful, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to leave the comments down below about my retouching if you think that I am creating these tutorials and you're finding them helpful. Don't forget to let me know about my English if I am understandable. If you are not a subscriber yet, please consider to subscribe me, because why not? If you find the actions and tutorials helpful, you can always subscribe me. As I said, leave some comments down below. Let me know about my retouching skills, if I am good at it or anything else, or you want to ask some questions, just put some comments down there. Don't forget to leave some likes for the algorithm, and don't forget to check all the links down below, as I said before. Don't forget to follow me on social media, because I post everything there about my workflow, about retouching, YouTube tutorials, and etc. And see you guys in the next one. Peace.